knee pain is no fun to deal with, and unfortunately as we get older in life, our knees are going to start taking the hit. The reason they take the hit is because they're caught in the middle. Very often the ankle or the hip are not functioning effectively, and subsequently the knee is having to compensate. When my knee joint goes, it's very difficult to now go ahead and get people to start walking and effectively loading that lower extremity. One of the exercises that I go ahead and I incorporate very often is a reach exercise. The reach exercise allows me to make it a hip dominant exercise and allows me to actively assist them and then progressively work them towards what we hope will be a resisted step lunge. Let me show you how I take people through the progression and what I do in regards to incorporating a reach and eventually working towards that step lunge. First of all, I like to go ahead and I like to load the hip horizontally, which means I'm going to go ahead and attach the band to my hip. By attaching it to my hip, I create a horizontal vector. That horizontal vector is going to teach my hips how to hinge, which is going to be the first key to making sure people are actively loading their hip. We're going to use an assistive device, both at the band and at my upper extremity. So my left leg is my involved side. What I want to do is start by incorporating a simple stationary reach where people are just reaching out and touching something. In this case, I'm just touching the wall. As I get to be stronger with touching the wall there, I might reach down and try to touch something lower, which will only make me have to bend through my hip more aggressively. These are called supportive reaches. Ultimately, my goal is to eliminate this support. So what I might do is now I might go to a point where I hang onto the wall, I do my reach, but as I'm reaching out, I take this hand away so that I'm starting to engage through my lower extremity to support myself. The whole time I have the band assisting me, slowing down momentum, slowing down gravity. From there, I'm going to go ahead and I might incorporate an isometric reach to increase the strength and endurance of my hip. An isometric reach would be where I go down, I support myself, and I just simply go ahead, keep constant stability and force through my heel while I'm doing some different reaches in a stationary position. What this is going to do is it's really going to engage that hip and have to make it isometrically get stronger. From there, we want to incorporate a rhythmical reach. Still keeping the foot stable, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to incorporate a rhythmical reach where I get both my upper extremities involved and I start shifting my hips forward and backward. If I go lower, I'm going to now go ahead and make sure I bend more at my hip. The key is make sure they are physically touching something. That little touch, as light as it is, will provide the stability and support that they need to regain their stability when they're at their furthest length, where they're lengthened out the furthest, where the hip is going to be pushed and worked the most aggressively. From there, we're going to go ahead and create an upper body and lower body driver. Keeping the foot stationary, we're going to now start driving from the lower body and the upper body, which is going to start simulating basically walking in a stationary position. We're going to let the same side swing, and we're going to make sure that we touch both in front and our foot in the back, but it's going to be a very light touch. From there, we want to go ahead and we want to increase our resistance. We might go ahead and work with a dynamic stabilizer, where I'll go ahead and put the dynamic stabilizer onto my hips above and go back to my rhythmical reach. What this is going to do is this going to go ahead and really accentuate having to work my left hip even more aggressively, because as the right leg goes back, the right hand goes forward, the force is being pulled on my left side and I have to engage more aggressively at my left hip. We might go ahead from there and add a resistance to the upper extremity. Now what that entails is just simply going ahead and doing what we call a staggered stance pull. Now again, performing a pull is going to make me reach. It's going to make me hold. It's going to look like an upper body exercise, but in reality, it's a lower body stabilization drill. We can go ahead and work that resistance through the upper extremity. From there, we now want to go ahead and get ground reaction forces going. So what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate a step and reach. But the step and reach is going to be done with the assistance of the band. So as I step out, I'm still doing my reach, but the band is now supporting me, so it decreases ground impact, decreases momentum, and decreases gravity. You can have them reach high, you can have them reach low. You can have them reach across their body, which is going to engage their glute medius more because you're making the hip have to rotate. Adding this assisted step and reach is the next step. From there, we're going to go ahead and you want to progress them to what you hope will be just a simple active reach. So now without the resistance, they're going to do a step and reach, not having the band as an assistant. Obviously, the last step is now to go ahead, take the band, put it around their hips, and have them do a resisted step and reach, which is what we call a step lunge. So there you have it. That's how you can progress people from a very simple, supportive reach drill all the way to doing a full ground contact step and reach or lunge exercise.